Hey folks, if there's any two bats we ever get asked to compare, it is far and away the Demarini CF series and the Mako series from Easton. This is the CF8 and the Mako XL. These are both 32-inch bats, and there are way more similarities in these bats than there are differences in these bats. But if you're asking me to find some differences as a group that's, we've compared and contrasted and hit these two bats among hundreds of different hitters over the course of several years. Not necessarily the 2016 versions, obviously, but 2015, 2014, 2013. Back in the S1 or the XO1 days, all the way down to like the CF5. What's the difference by the time we get to the CF8 and the Mako XL? So all the 2016 versions. Well, I'll start from the bottom to the top. The barrel size on the Mako is a little bit bigger. In fact, I'll show it to you right here, and this is one way to prove it. If you look at that ring, where that ring lands, it lands right about there on the -5 for the Demarini CF8. So these are the same size bats by way of, they're both 2 5/8 barrel, and they're both 32 inches. So notice that it comes in at about the drop, right where it says -5 on the CF8. And if I take this ring off, put it here, you'll notice it comes down to about the CF. So there, the bat here, the Mako, gets to the maximum barrel size. So this is the 2016 Mako, gets to the maximum barrel size. I don't know, about that far. What is that? About an inch, maybe an inch and a half sooner. Now, what does that mean? I don't think very much. But if you are looking for the quote-unquote bigger barrel, meaning what gets to the barrel bigger or faster, the Mako does win, although very, very close to being the same. I think from a pure hitting standpoint, that ultimately won't mean much, but it is the winner. The connection pieces. They're both stiff transition connection pieces. Both these bats are two-piece composites. I mean, I'm not in the room when Easton or when Demarini compete against each other to try to, make their bats. But I'm confident that they are looking at the specs of each other's bat, because these are the flagship bats, I think, in baseball, at least in the two-piece composite space. The connection pieces are similar in the sense that they're both stiff connection pieces. They do them a little bit differently. Demarini, they call a D-Fusion 2.0. Easton, they call a CXN, or a connective technology. They both use their high-end composite. Easton's is called the TCT thermocomposite. They've been using that for 3 or 4 years. Demarini's is called the... Oh, we're going to have to look. It's skipping my mind here. Oh, the Paradox Plus. They've been using Paradox Plus for a few years as well. So all that stuff is super, super similar when it comes to the CF8 and the Mako. Couple things that are different. Again, the barrel size is a little bit bigger in the Mako. Notice the grip, at least the stock grip, actually comes down a little bit longer. Again, where this is very ticky-tack stuff because there aren't much differences. But the grip in the Demarini, which is the one on the right, the CF8 actually goes down a little more than the CF8, or excuse me, the Mako XL, which, okay, fair enough. The other thing to notice that I think is probably the most different between the two are the knobs. Notice this is the drop 5 CF8 and the drop 8 Mako XL, but there are no youth or senior barrel bats in the Mako that have a flared knob. And by flared, see how there's more girth right here, if you will. The drop 10 in the CF8, or anything besides the drop 5, doesn't have that flared knob. In fact, that's that bat right there in the middle. That is the drop 8 CF8. That does not have a flared knob. Notice that the CF5 does have a flared knob. In the BB core space, even the Eastons have flared knobs. Whereas in the Easton, all the Makos, none of their youth or senior barrel bats have a flared knob. So they don't have any extra girth right there. So if that's something you appreciate and you like, at least stock, then Demarini's your choice. If you don't like it, well, Easton's your choice. Notice as well the shape and design of the actual knob. The Easton is, real traditional rounded knob, whereas the Demarini has sort of this shaped knob that comes up, more like sort of trying to recreate the wood bat, and that shaped sort of a dome shaped knob is the same on the CF8. They all have that, and there's the Mako 2015 Mako Torque, but just notice the shape of the knob. They're a little bit they're just different. Demarini tries. This is a wood bat from Rawlings, just to give you an idea. This is sort of what a wood bat looks like. At least some wood bats, right? This flared knob. So really, the difference is you're getting outside of the fact clearly it's a different name, it's a different brand, it has a different type of composite. Although ultimately, I think these bats perform very, very similar. You're getting a different sort of handle, especially if you go with the Drop 5. You're definitely getting a different shape of a knob with the CF8. Looks like you're getting a little bit more barrel size with the Easton Mako. And this is the XL, if I get into focus. A little bit more barrel size. But when it comes to options, by way of what drop you get, what length you can get, man, these bats are super, super similar. We think they both perform really, really similar. And it would be nearly impossible for us to claim that one bat ultimately performs better than the other. If you were to ask us specifically what bat we like better, we are fans of Demarini. We like the CF8 and the CF7 and the CF6. Those, and I don't know why. I do know why. We like them better. We like to hit them better. The boys seem to like them. The team seems to like them. But that doesn't mean that the Mako's a bad bat. Everybody really likes the bat. If you like a two-piece composite bat that dampens hands, that dampens hand seeing, has a big barrel. I mean, both of these bats are really fantastic. If you go by pure secondary market value right now, this is January of 2016. The CF8 is selling way better than the Mako series. I don't know if that's just a function of supply, but from a pure auction standpoint, people are spending more money right now on secondary market Demarini CF8s than they are on Makos. And again, that might just be because they're flooding the market with Eastons right now, or it might be because people also tend to prefer the Demarini. For some reason, maybe it feels a little better, hits a little better. But ultimately, both these bats are great. They're the flagship bats of the two biggest companies on the market by way of aluminum and composite baseball bat. That's it. All right, there you go. That's comparing the Easton Mako and the Demarini CF8.